All right, we're keeping it real with Arielle Loewen. How's it going today?
Good. Can't complain. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, you know? What
Yeah,
about you?
pretty good. I just got back from vacation. We were in Virginia with the family, and we had all sorts of flight delays from. Did you hear about the whole like Windows virus at the airports or whatnot?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Is it
still
still
backed
effective?
up. Yeah,
Really? That was 2 weeks ago.
yeah, yeah. I think it's a. Have you ever flown through Denver before?
No.
Yeah, it's a crazy airport. It's not too dissimilar from Atlanta. And if anything goes wrong there, they get a lot of weather out there. He said it was a combination of them still somewhat catching up from um, just being out for a whole day and then weather as well. So all of our flights there and back were delayed. And it was the first time that we had our 6-year-old up. I mean, I don't think she's ever been up past 11. And we got home at 2 a.m. She was just, whoo.
No. Is that the airport with all the conspiracies?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. No, I've never
Yeah.
been, but I've heard all the good stuff about
Yes. It's entertaining. I think the first time I went there, I went and looked for some of the stuff, but you don't really notice if you're not looking for it.
it. Right. That's like
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think the earth is flat unless you look for
That's
the
right.
earth to be flat.
That's exactly right. I did have an interesting goal. I didn't, and everything went wrong for this, but I wanted to run a Murph in the Denver airport and like YouTube it or something and see if it ended up funny. Because
Right.
it's like 1.6 miles. It's a straight all the way from one end of the terminal to the other. And I'm like, man, if I just do it like real, like a low key jog and kind of in the corner, do my burpees and find something to do pull-ups on,
Yep.
that could be funny, but it didn't end up working out.
But then it's like, do you want to be that guy?
Kind
Like,
of.
kind of, yeah.
I don't know how it would have went. So I saw on your Instagram were you just training?
I was. I trained from
Okay.
about 11 to 2. So I finished at 2, ate
Yep.
lunch, showered,
Yep.
and now it's relaxation time for a little bit.
Now is that and I know you've done a lot of interviews, so I apologize if I ask duplicate questions, but
Good.
um do you have two training sessions or one?
I basically lump them together.
Okay.
One big training
Yeah.
session, cardio piece, rest maybe 10 minutes, set up for the next part, do my strength. And those are my two priority. And then I'll come back in the afternoon and do something. But that's usually around 7:30 or 8 o'clock.
Yeah. So what will that look like, something lighter, or will it still be pretty hard?
It'll be hard, but a different
Yeah.
stimulus. So
Okay.
today's was more CrossFitty. So
Mm.
running with a sandbag, with a barbell, with jump ropes. The evening will just be heart rate machines. Nothing
Uh
hurts. It's just your heart feels like it's going to explode. So just working on
yeah.
like cardio capacity.
Is that the same thing as when like is would that be related to the lungs too? Like if you do something really fast and you kind of get the Fran
Exactly.
lung going on? Okay.
And my
Yeah.
biggest weakness is I would rather do like a Murph where it's just a slow grind
Yeah.
than spike it for a minute and then try and recover. So the
Yep.
evenings are focused on stuff I hate, but I need to get better at. But thankfully, Dylan joins me. So it's kind of like
Oh,
family
that's cool.
bonding.
Yeah. Now was this Dylan's first CrossFit Open this year that he did
Second.
his second? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it
So
the first that he entered scores for, or no? Was it his
no,
second that he entered
I
scores for?
believe he did last year.
Got
He
it.
trained really hard for the first open, like
Yeah.
really hard, got peak
That's
fitness,
awesome.
and
Yeah.
then did it. And then he was basically like, okay, the open's over. I don't know what to do with all my fitness.
Right.
But
Right.
it's fun because, bless you, he'll train with me come games time. My
Yeah.
training partner, Joelle, will.
Yeah.
So they're both like peak fitness when I'm
Yeah.
at peak fitness. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, when I'm at my worst is when they
Yeah.
need to be at their best. So our seasons
Yeah.
just don't align.
Yeah. I found it really curious that the rope, you've got the rope in there that's a shorter rope. So you go somewhere else to get in rope climbs. Is that I don't know why that just struck me as I don't want to say odd. It's just like in my head, I'm like, there's a lot of rope climbs. There very well could be rope climbs. Does it matter that you get that many rope climbs in, or can you get the stimulus another way to where going in if there's rope climbs? I'll be fine. And I know you do them. You just probably do them a little bit less than you would, or no?
Yeah, so I actually wouldn't go to a normal gym, but my
Yeah.
training partner was basically like, Arielle, there are 4 weeks left till the games. Suck it up. It will help you to do
Yes.
real rope climb. So
Yeah.
I personally would choose not to, but
Yeah.
I actually thanked him for it the other day. I was like, thank you for forcing me to go there on a Saturday, because I would be totally fine. Like, I'm really
Yeah.
confident rope climbing, but it's just good to touch it. So like, if 4 rope climbs comes out in the workout, okay, I know I can do that in roughly a minute. I did this in practice, and it just eases my mind. In my own perfect world, I would stay in my garage all day. But they
That's
also have a
awesome.
pegboard. So part of going there is like, okay, I'll touch a pegboard, I'll touch a
Good point.
rope, I'll touch this. And I force myself to go, but always I'm very thankful I go
Yeah.
once a quarter. And it's, if you saw the video, it's a beautiful facility. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
me being used to my comfort zone, used to my stuff. Their facility is 10 times nicer than mine.
Yeah.
So it's just me.
So, and you have to forgive me because my CrossFit history is very short. So I just started in like 2021. And
Love it. That's my good years. You've seen all my good years.
yeah, that's right. That's true. And that's what I wanted to bring up. So you have to forgive me if I'm off, but at some point I've looked up like everybody's CrossFit Opens because, you know, that's what I live for since I have no postseason pretty much. Now I do, with quarterfinals being 75%, but before I didn't. And so I was looking, I'm not incorrect in saying that there was your time before, then you had kids, then you came back and it was like, whew,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've talked about this before, but I am curious how that went. Was it, were you at an affiliate before? Were you always in the garage? And did you come back differently? Like, did you train differently I'm just very curious.
Yeah. I would say everything changed.
Yeah.
I always have loved CrossFit. So I did CrossFit before. When I found out I was pregnant, after my pregnancy, I went to the local affiliate. So I just was always a nooner, showed up to the noon class, and that was it. So after having Blakely, I still went to the gym after like a month of being cleared from pregnancy and just did the daily noon class, and that was it. So from 2019 to 2021, daily noon class, that's it.
Okay.
And I almost feel like pregnancy taught me how to breathe, as weird as that is, because
That's
when
interesting.
it was in my stomach, I had to be very intentional with like breathing, listening to my body. How do I feel? Am I okay? So once I had Blakely, that never changed. So it was like a little bit more in tune with like, okay, I'm okay. Let's go a little bit faster. Okay, I'm okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. So the priority of trying to make it to the games was not there. It was just, okay, I'm healthy. Let's try and crush the nooners in this noon class. Okay, the way I'm going to do that is not getting chalk in between the workout, not doing this. So just like constantly pushing myself intensity wise. So when the open came around, I was used to 1 class a day. 2021, I was like, might as well sign up. I'll be doing the noon class anyways. And that's when they program it. And then from there, qualified for quarters, qualified for semis, and then the rest is history. So I went to an affiliate up until 2022. And then a lot of unnecessary drama happened, and I chose to remove myself to keep my peace. And so for 2023 season and 2024 season has been in the garage gym.
Yeah. That's funny. The chalk thing that you mentioned, that's kind of like my secret to trying to look fitter than I am. I always say I'm not tired. I'm just chalking, or I'm just turning my gloves around. That's when I catch my breath.
And people don't realize how big of a crutch it is.
Huge.
But if you train yourself that you don't need it, in reality, you don't really need it. But a lot of my success, I also feel like, was a change in identity. Before it was like I had to go to the games, and now it was like, okay, I know I'm loved, I'm worthy. God loves me, my family loves me. Who cares? And even still, I have that perspective a bit, but now I train really hard, so I still want to do good.
Yeah, for sure. No, I've heard you talk about that a lot. And then I heard Dylan talk about it on the podcast with Glinton's. did that happen around 2020 where, he gave the story that was just an incredible story, but, when did that sort of mindset transformation happen to where you let go of things from the past that sort of had haunted you? Was that around this time after you had, is it Blakely?
Yeah, it was actually before. So I
Okay.
was 2 months pregnant, and my mind shift changed whenever I don't know if you heard the story about the ruby, a lady
I did.
prophesied over me that
Yep.
she had a dream. My
Yeah.
mind changed in that moment. Okay, I'm having a family. I'm going to get married. This is my new focus. And then,
Yeah.
as silly as it sounds, I retired the last name Armstrong. So my maiden name was Arielle Armstrong. And I was
Yeah.
like, I want to go to the games. This is the best last name ever for the games. And the moment I officially changed my name was another symbolic and
Oh
not
yeah.
symbolic of okay, I am
Yeah.
Arielle Loewen. Arielle
Yeah.
Loewen is married to Dylan Loewen, who has a
Yeah.
daughter, Blakely Loewen. This is my new purpose.
That's so cool. Because obviously you see that a lot in the Bible.
Yeah.
The name change thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That was
it-
my Abram to Abraham.
yeah. Yeah. Did you grow up in a pretty conservative Christian household?
Yeah, I'd say I
Yeah.
did. I
Yeah.
was always the black sheep of the family.
Yeah. Me
So
too.
even though I still did a lot of
Yeah.
bad.
No, me too. I was wild. I was the one. I wasn't just, what's funny? When I transferred schools from a Christian school to public school, I kind of had it set in my mind, I've always been hyper and whatnot. And so at the Christian school, I had some friends, but I had some people who made fun of me. And I said, when I go to public school sophomore year, I said, I'm going in with a focus to be in the in crowd, to be cool. And that was definitely not a good idea. It worked. But not for my good, because the funny thing was, when I think back, initially I was the one giving in to peer pressure and doing things that I probably, even as a non-Christian, I would say things that you just don't really do.
Right.
And then at a certain point, I don't know when it shifted, but I just know in college, I wasn't the one getting asked to do things and then grudgingly doing them. I was the one organizing it all.
Mm.
And I remember thinking about that one time, actually, before I would say, even if I was a Christian, just wasn't really, I guess I wasn't serious about it or whatnot. I believed, but I hadn't really made a personal commitment yet. And I remember thinking about, when did that happen? Because I remember in high school, I was thinking, well, you're still a good guy. Everybody knows you're a good guy. And then at a certain point, I remember thinking, you're not really a good guy. You're getting people to do things that they wouldn't normally do that are really bad, you know? So I can
You,
relate. Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
You went from a follower to a leader, it sounds like.
Yeah, not in a good way with that. It's kind of different in the church. I'm definitely not a leader, which is okay, because kind of when you enter that new phase of having some different friends who are believers and things like that, um, I'm just kind of, there's a new humility, I guess, where I don't have to be in charge or in the lead. I'm totally fine with following other men, for instance, whose marriages I see that I look up to, and just recognizing where I'm at and where they're at. So it just struck me, that story on the Glintons, because I was like, man, I can relate, coming from a very Christian home and being the black sheep and
Right.
having that guilt of things, and then just sort of a release to where you're loved, like you said,
Exactly. No, I
Yeah.
love that. I'm glad you've had one as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. I remember I used to have trouble sleeping until that. I used to, want to hear a weird one? I used to have, dreams all the time when I partied in college and when I was wandering, like Jonah running away. Always have dreams of the end times, vivid dreams where I'd wake up, it was so real, and I would say, oh God, okay, I'm done with this, God. I'm gonna get it together all the time. And
Interesting.
as soon as I made an actual commitment, 10, 12, I don't know how many years, never had another one again that scared me.
Wow.
Isn't that kind
Interesting.
of weird? Yeah.
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 What was
Anyway,
your end
yeah.
time? What did
What's
your
that?
end time? What did your end times dreams look like?
I can't remember. I just remember being scared. Did you ever get in, were you ever exposed to the Left Behind stuff?
Yeah.
It was very much like that. Like I was left behind. It just crazy. I remember being so vivid that I would wake up a few times and just be like out of my mind, shook from it, you know? So
Wow.
I think God definitely used that, you know?
Yeah. A little fear, a little healthy fear.
That's right. Healthy fear. I like it. Okay. So we got into that early, but I'm glad we did. I want to get to the some of the meme stuff just here real quick. Cause here's the interesting thing. Did you see Hiller's video, the way he ranks people by chance, or did you hear about it?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, I'll be super honest with you.
That's fine. Yeah.
This time of the year, if I get tagged in anything ranking, I don't even click. I don't look.
I like it.
Yeah, but I want to hear this.
Yeah. So thankfully I should have known. He gets into his rankings, he does it, and I'm like, none of this makes sense. This is terrible. What's he talking about? And then he reveals that it's the social media rankings, and it goes by how much you've ascended or declined over the last year, I believe. And you were up there. I think you'd gone from like, are you at 100,000 on Instagram or no?
Yeah. So this is non-important numbers, but I remember last year going to games, my jersey number was 43.
Okay.
And I had 43,000 followers. And so in 1 year, I've jumped from 43 to, I think, 107.
Yeah. So he had it in the 60s, I think, which would make sense. That's awesome. How did that happen? Were you doing the comedic stuff before, or is this all pretty much in the last year?
This is all the last year. So third place happened.
Yeah.
I gained, let's say, 20 grand, which is huge.
Sure.
And then I plateaued. Okay. And I realized, like, I changed my perspective on what exactly I want to show people. Before it was like, I want to show them cool edits. I want to show them the cool slow-mo videos with all the muscles popping. And I realized, like, people don't really care.
No one cares.
No, they want fun stuff to send to their friends, and then their friends see it, send it to other friends. So that's when I really talked to Fusile about it at the Waterfall. And she's, I mean, she's grown exponentially. And
she has it down.
Yeah. So she's like, you have to change your perspective of like, what's your brand, but what can you create that people want to see and send their friends? Yeah. People aren't going to send their friends me doing a power clean in the gym, but they are going to send Dylan doing something goofy, making a sandwich. So just like trying to bring in the whole family. Yeah.
When I first started, and it was only like 4 months ago, but I you know who it was actually that advised me. I think he still does that. I don't know if he's still bringing people in, but you know, Roderick, Meme for Time, he does. Well, you know him pretty well, I think, or you've done some stuff with him. I know. Yeah, he's really smart and very intentional about everything he does. And so I took a class that he did, and we've had a little bit of private interaction. And the biggest thing that he did was like, dude, when I first started, it's like, you've got like no reps, like your Hiller here. You've got yourself doing muscle ups, like you're cool. No one cares. And you've got training tips here. And then like a funny video here. You have no idea. It's just all over the place. Right. And I would have had no idea if he told me, but like you say, if you build that brand and there's sort of a consistency, then the people that you bring in, if they're there for, say, comedic content or whatnot, they're going to be a lot more engaged than if you brought them in for one thing and now you've changed it up.
Right. Exactly. Because I tried the CrossFit card for 2 years and it was just like nothing. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm more than CrossFit. Let's start showing the world. So the beginning of this year was really when I was like, okay, I've been waiting for somebody to tell my story, but it's time to stop waiting and just tell it myself. This is how goofy Dylan is. This is how goofy I am. This is what our family looks like. And it's been a lot of fun because people have been really receptive to it. And I think they're starting to love Dylan more than me.
Definitely. And I still think it's crazy that you collab him on a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, because he's not a poster, but he's just like, he loves it. He thinks it's so fun. So I'm like, if you don't post, I'll just like collab you in and then it can be on your page. So it looks like you're posting something.
Yeah, that's awesome. Right. So is it often a team effort, like just Dylan, other people? I mean, I would imagine with how much you train, I mean, Dylan came up with the Traeger idea, right? Is that what you said in an interview?
Yeah, and that was the
Okay.
hardest reel I've done in a long time.
Some of them are so complex, and it's like for 30 seconds. Why did this take so long?
Right, because he had the dream, and I was like, honestly, I need help with it. We're following
Yeah.
it. And
Okay.
then it was like a movie. Build it
So
up,
good.
shoot the climax, shoot this, shoot that, add the video, add the music here.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It definitely was fun. But I was like,
Yeah.
man, he made me work for that one.
Yeah. One of the first ones I saw that I still love, I think I've mentioned it before, is the one where you're the cook, the cleaner,
Oh yeah.
the babysitter. I thought that one was, I think that's probably when I hit follow at a certain point. I knew
Well,
very little about CrossFit on the professional side until like 4 months ago, and I'm getting caught up. The goal is, I don't want to be an analyst or anything like that, but the goal is next year for the CrossFit Games to be very knowledgeable. So I'm doing my homework. Yeah.
good for you. The funny part about the Traeger one is Dylan put so much thought into it, so much effort, and it does good. But
Yeah.
I like trip on the finish line at semis, rip my pants, and it does
Yeah.
100 times better. Where he's like,
That's so funny.
effort versus this.
Don't you feel like sometimes I feel like, and you know, since I'm a little bit newer, like my views are a lot lower, but I can still gauge which ones do well, which ones versus which ones don't. And sometimes there's been ones that I haven't wanted to post that did really well, and other ones I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And it's like, beep.
Exactly. Like the ripping the pants was my best one ever. And my
Yeah.
videographer who took it was like, I don't think I should send this to her. She might be too embarrassed. Oh, and I was like, no, please send it. And it's done. I think it's hilarious, but it's done the best.
That's awesome. Okay, so before we get into the fun speed round here at the end, I want to get into something somewhat serious about the games. I've been thinking about how to phrase this question. I wouldn't call it juicy at all, but it just has to do with the competition. So my first question would be simply, based on the competition you have this year, is it going to be harder this year?
I think yes, but I don't think it's because of the competition.
Okay.
I'm personally not a fan of Dave's programming. So I think because of the programming, it's going to be a harder games because, I mean, we have Chad and then a clean ladder. Realistically, are we going to be able to do our best clean? No, because we're going to be trash. So I have to also change my perspective of like, regardless, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do my best. But right now, I'm not excited about any that have been released.
No, I see what you mean. And I feel very strongly about the workouts as well. I do think it will end up better than what we feel it is right now.
Yeah, and there's still 10 events potentially we haven't seen, but I'm like, man, if this is supposed to be a teaser for the meal, like if this is the appetizer, I don't want the meal.
I feel like I love Dave, but I don't like the style of, so he's the ultimate troll. He just sits back and loves to watch the chaos, which is fine because I have a little bit of that in me, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's purposeful. I would rather him give us something exciting to talk about that everybody loves. But when you have, I wouldn't quite call it negative press, but when you have controversial press over, man, these are the events, it does get people talking. So I do see, and he's talked about this in interviews. He said he was on Savan the other night and he's like, see, and you're talking about it right now. And Hiller's talking about it. And this person's talking about it. So we're talking about it leading into it, which I don't know. But do you really think, now you would know the answer to this question better, but to me, Chad feels like an event that you can't. Now you said Dylan and you were fairly close, right? I think you posted that on your Instagram.
Yeah,
the first time
exactly.
Okay. But don't you think it's going to be a little bit different on the field, or is what you do in practice typically similar to what you do on the field? I just feel like Chad's one where you might get another gear. I don't know.
I hope so. But I usually historically what I do in training is very similar to practice.
Okay.
Like I give my all, not every time, mostly. So I'm hoping it's better, but also like Dylan used the same weight as me. He's a little taller, so the step up height might have been easier. So there's certain things I'm telling myself. Yeah. But it also is like Dylan is good, but if it's not a fitness test, he might just be a little bit more mentally strong.
Sure.
It's hard because I'm like, man, us games athletes, mentally, we test ourselves every single day. Competition is supposed to be the fun place to like shine and show what we can do.
Yeah.
But I will do it, and I will do it with a good attitude. I just got to get over it.
Do you think it's going to be, do you think the twist is the twist like we saw Dave post?
Unfortunately, some people on the demo team have leaked some stuff, so I believe I know the twist, and it's just the boxes look a little bit different, but it is like a step up and over.
Okay. So the lockout probably won't be a thing.
See, I don't know. That's the thing.
Okay.
Like those details we won't know until briefing. But I think the twist is you literally twist. And I'm like, are you serious?
I said that from the beginning. I feel like I said to everybody, to all of my hundreds of followers, the twist is literally a twist. Okay, last question before we do the speed round here. So, and this is the one that I don't really know how to phrase. So I wrote it down like 6 different ways. So I'm just going to ask it.
Be blunt. I love it.
I don't even want to really bring up Tia because this is about you. But when you talk about female CrossFit, it's almost always a part of the conversation. She's the most dominant, really almost athlete that we've seen in some sense. Nobody has showed an ability to beat her. Thus, she showed a few chinks in the armor, as you've seen. Is that something that I guess the way I would ask it is, let me say it this way. Do you think that there's top 10 or even top 5 athletes that have relegated themselves to second, and that's just okay as long as Tia's performing and doing so at a high level? I know that's a weird way to phrase it. I just want to hear your thoughts on it, because from my perspective, if I know there's somebody who's just dominated, I don't know how I would take that. I don't know if I'd be shooting for second. I mean, you took third last year, so you're in that mix.
Right.
How do you deal with that? And do you know how other people kind of approach it?
I don't know how other people do, but I'll tell you this. I haven't thought of Tia until you brought her up.
Darn it.
For me, I'm only focusing on how can I improve? How do I get stronger? It's very selfish, to be honest.
Sure.
So I'm just like, I don't really care what she does, what she shows up to do. If I show up and do my best and I can leave super proud, at the end of the day, like, I'm super happy. I don't think about her at all, but I also know if God wants me to beat her, I will. So I'll just do all I can now.
Yeah.
I don't imagine I will, but if I improve and I'm a little bit fitter and stronger than last year, that's something I can be really proud of.
And that's kind of what I was getting at. You just said, I don't think I will. And I feel like in sports in general, you have to always say, if I want to win the championship, I want to be first. And I feel like in CrossFit, sometimes it's okay. Like if you're a rookie coming in, you're not going to, most likely, unless you're a phenom, you're not going to say, I'm going to win the games. You're going to say, I'm shooting to make the cut or something like that.
Exactly. Right.
So I feel like we should be allowed to have realistic expectations.
Yeah. Like my realistic expectations are, if I get top 10, I'm super happy.
Yeah.
And that's like 10th to 5th. Honestly, nobody remembers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But if I improved, I'll remember that and be proud of it.
I'm shooting for third again for you.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I think my prediction is that Chad, I think you're going to do better on Chad. Could be wrong. Okay, let's do the speed round here. This is just the fun round, and then we'll get you out of here. I'm going to go through just like 6 quick questions here. Just kind of the first thing that comes to your mind. Is Dylan home, by the way?
No. If the sun's up, he's not home. Like, unfortunately, the day in the life, he didn't feel good, so he stayed home a lot. But a normal day, if it's before 8, he's not home.
Okay. Hi. How old are you?
5.
Are you the one who likes Super Kitties?
Mm-hmm.
My daughter loves Super Kitties. Do you have a favorite one?
Sparks.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a great show. I love it. It's really good to meet you.
Yeah. Did you need Dylan?
No, I just wanted to see if he was home. I like Dylan.
That's great.
And I'm not ashamed of it. All right. So speed round. Favorite cheat meal?
Probably a good burger or pizza. But I'll always go dessert over a meal. So I probably say
interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. Favorite type of music to work out to?
Cardio stuff is just going to be anything high tempo with a beat.
I like
Strength stuff, slower worship music.
Yeah. Everybody always says that. I have a lot of Christians on and I just don't get it. I can't do it, but I do understand at least that it's to the strength. The cardio I need upbeat too. So
I do too.
yep. All right. Favorite. I know you're busy this time of year, but do you and Dylan have a show that you watch, a current favorite show, or maybe an all-time favorite show?
We haven't watched TV in a long time.
Darn it,
But
I knew it.
we
Movie?
love Love is Blind. We will watch that. That's the last thing we watched.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's entertaining. Okay. So favorite ever CrossFit workout, if you could have it in the games, or if you want to pick a movement, that's fine too. I know that's very broad.
I'm going to say not favorite to do, but the most epic of all time is the Capitol.
That one is epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, who programmed that?
Boz did.
Was it? Okay.
Which to me, I'm like, if you want to go mental test, that is mental, but it was a show.
A lot of people say that was that Boz. I remember now because I think I saw a meme or something about Dave sulking over Boz creating the best event or programming the best event of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, and then least favorite movement or workout, and you cannot pick, Chad.
The Echo Bike.
I feel you on that.
It just hurts my soul.
Hurts so bad. Assault bike. I'm fine with the assault bike. Echo bike. Nope.
Mm-mm.
All right. Awesome. Well, I watched your documentary right before this. It was, or I should say, Day in the Life. It was really good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I hope it does great. I hope you guys put out more stuff like that. I think everybody enjoys it. And I really appreciate your time today. I will have my Loewen shirt on like I do now.
No, I love it. Thank you for it.
I'm going to pick it. I got some shirts for, different days, and I will wear it at one where I think you're going to win or do well.
Love it. Every day. Wear it every day.
That's right. Every day. All right, cool. Thanks. I appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Britt.
All right. Bye.